Native Americans of Reddit, what are your tribe's ghost stories, legends, or supernatural occurrences? Yuctina. It's a legend about a horned snake in Salaji legend. Yuctina is said to be very large and round like a tree trunk, with horns on his head. The only way to wound him is to shoot at a singular spot on his forehead that emits bright light. It's similar to a diamond. If you defeat Yuctina, you become a miracle worker. A great warrior. Yet, once you see the light of his forehead, you run toward it instead of trying to escape. Even to see Yuctina sleeping is death. Not to the hunter, but to his family. Bloody hell, you have video game boss battles in your native lore. The Yuctina was said to have lived up the mountain from my family's home. Cherokee myself, and I have yet to see Yuctina. Kinda glad I haven't. My tribe talks about a beast called the Flame Walker. Spirits who take the form of a small blue flame, that leads people into the swamps and bogs, where they eventually drown or otherwise vanish. Another are the water-faced hunters. These creatures have a face that acts like a pool of water, reflecting the face of anyone who looks them in the eyes. They mercilessly hunt down the people who acknowledge them. The only way to avoid them is to not speak to, or others interact with a stranger unless you can see their face from the corner of your eye. We also have the more traditional skinwalker-type legends, as well the bogmen. My tribe is considered part of the Abenaki, but are actually a smaller sub-tribe. Basically, when it came down to it, there were not enough of the tribe to actually be considered a tribe anymore. Today we number fewer than 200, and only 8 of those are more than half-blooded. My bio-father and his brother, as well as my paternal grandparents, are the last 4 full-blooded of my tribe. Dean from northern British Columbia here. My mom used to always tell me stories of the Nguni, or Bushmen wildmen when I was young. They were people who lived in the forest and took away people who wandered too far out, specifically children. I always figured these stories were created by my people to serve 2 purposes. First, to teach young children to not wander far off, and second, to give explanations to kidnappings done by other tribes, which was a fairly common occurrence even up until the early to mid-20th century. My grandmother's brother was taken by Cree from Alberta and raised by them. They had assumed he had died until decades later when they were reunited and learned what had happened. Dang, I've had dreams of these bush people. And I live way south of British Columbia. Really crazy yet very interesting. Also, why the kidnapping of other tribesmen? Were they losing members due to disease and war? Did they not have enough warriors? So the first one is called Siako, don't know the translation in English. Lived at this lake and it was his spot. We do not go there or he will kill you. Used to have nightmares about him based on what I was taught as a kid. Like how you could stand at the edge of the water and be looking in and he would come out of it and just grab you. But then the mountain blew up and filled in the lake, so don't know if he's still around or not. The second I don't remember the name, but translated into English is dangerous being who lives in rivers and drowns people. Anthropologists think it was our way of describing dangerous log jams and whirlpools in our river. Forgot to all that we also believe in these little people called stick Indians. They are kind of like trickster types like gnomes or elves, I guess. I was told that they gather in sad places, like where people died or people were feeling sad. Something like that. There is a picture out there of what appears to be one. The people in the picture are not from my tribe, just a neighboring tribe. The raven is why we have light. He was selfish and greedy and tried to steal the light from a box after tricking a girl into opening the box. The girl's father had raised her to never ever open the box ever. They lived in total darkness, they didn't know what the world or one another looked like, etc. He tricked her by masking himself as a person, in a world with only 2 people, and causing the person to fall in love with him. Once the box, containing light, was open, the raven stole it, dropped it, it broke, and Earth got light. I'll find a link to a much more descriptive storytelling. There is a very similar story where the raven pretends to be the daughter's child. He turned into a seed and fell into a bowl of water. The daughter drank it and gave birth to him. In that version, the daughter and father gave Raven the box with light as a gift. Then he turned back into a bird and flew off into the sky with it to create the sun. Please like and subscribe.